Okay, and we're live. All right, let me make sure that I have the stuff on the screen. I didn't even test if the audio is working. Let me test. Let's go to YouTube Studio. Man, I just jumped in without even testing. I usually test the audio first. Um, so let me go to the live stream. Create, go live, and then I'll click on this and let me listen. Is it working? Am I connected? Okay, there it is. Let me listen. Okay, all right, perfect. All right, I hear it. All right, welcome. All right, wow. I already have some angry armchair. You or angry chair. You've been in the chats like half hour earlier. Are you still in the chat? I wonder if you're still in the chat. Anyways, so introduction for those of you new to the channel. Stop moving. Stop moving. My name is Mustafa. I am a game developer. I am solo developer for Sabr Path, my brand. I have one game on Steam so far, another that's in the oven. I have worked in the game industry. Stop moving. I did QA for a um, like a fitness indoor cycling software, and then before that I did administrative work at Treyarch during Black Ops 4. If you're, again, if you're new, you're watching this for the first time, especially if you're watching this replay, you're not watching it live, I should have timestamps below. I'll add timestamps after the live stream is over, and the timestamp will let you know when the main discussion starts, so you can skip through this introduction. I like to spend the first 10-15 minutes talking about other things before the main topic, just so people can populate the chat, give people time to get into the chat, and I just want to cover other things. So I see Cosgrove. Good morning. Stop moving. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. Stop moving. I need a like. Here's what I need to do. I should just take a picture. Get my phone out. My phone that I actually use, so I can show. All right, I'm taking a picture of this. All right, and then I'm gonna put this picture on screen so you guys can see what exactly my setup looks like, because it always moves. I mean, I can't stop it from moving. The only way I can make it stop moving is to get like a more expensive arm, and I'm not gonna do that. I don't have money for a more expensive arm. I can only afford these flimsy arms. Let me go to make sure that's uploaded. The photo is uploaded. Oh wow, there's me and my wife. My son, when how old was he at that time too? Oh man, he had a cool haircut back then. Did I do that haircut for him? All right, let me get this picture on screen. All right, so now it's uploaded. Let's put this upside down, get the picture on screen. How you doing, Cosgrove? Are you Asian? Because I see symbols on your name, so I'm just wondering if you're Asian. Just curious. All right, here we go. Oh wow, I got a picture of my niece in the corner, but she's not very visible. Oh, let me copy. I'll put this on Photoshop and then I'll black it out. Open up Photoshop. I don't want my niece to be in the picture because I just don't want to share pictures of her. Even though my brother and his wife show pictures of her all the time, I don't want to show pictures of her. I don't believe in putting kids on the internet. So you're not gonna find pictures of my kids on the internet. So let me zoom in here and get let's do this. Let's do this effect. We're gonna let's remove. Click remove. I'm gonna do some Photoshop magic real quick and remove her altogether. Wow, no, that's now it's just straight up floating. I can't do that. All right, I'm just gonna do this, and I'll just blur her out. filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Yeah. Deselect. Why is it? What's going on here? Okay, that's weird. Anyways, let me get this on screen. Okay, let me catch up with the chat. There's a lot going on. Mr. 10 Years. Hi. Hey, Mr. 10 Years. I'm pretty sure you're the one. Oh, okay. That's why it's not moving. Okay. Yeah. I'm pretty sure you're the one who suggested the video. So I'm going to do a reaction to that video today. Thank you for that. How you doing, Mr. 10 Years? I think it was you. Pretty sure it was you. I'm doing well, Cosgrove. Really busy. Got my goals. It's not 2026 New Year goals. I actually started like a week before. It just happens to be at New Year aligned because of the fact I was like, okay, my job is ending and I need to start goals. So that's why I'm really busy. The busiest man on earth. No, not quite the busiest man, but I'm definitely busy. I just did before the stream. I got my right down there. Where is it? My kettlebells. I just did my workout right before the stream. That's my hair. My hair's wet this time because I just took a shower because I just did my workout with my kettlebells. Well, let's get this on screen real quick. Switch over, transition, so I can finish my story about. This is what the setup looks like. Let's get the brush. Oh, that's too big. Make it smaller. Let's make this into a brighter color. So as you can see here, make that even smaller. And so this right here, this black curvy coil, this is basically the tripod for my video. So this is the phone I'm using to record right now. And the coil, this is why I keep on saying stop moving, and I put my finger on this because the fact that it's literally just a coil. I mean, that's the type of tripod it is. Like it's supposed to be, it's specifically a phone tripod, but I get technically it's not a tripod because tripod means it has 3 legs. It's a clamp, but I guess they call it tripod. I don't know. Anyways, so I just wanted to share this on screen so you guys can understand the reason why I keep on doing it. I touch the camera and say stop moving. Okay, so anyways, before I start the main topic, I want to talk about, let's close out Photoshop, cancel. Let's do this, move that there, close that out, close out Photoshop. No, I do not want to save. Let's get, let's go YouTube. Let's get this on screen real quick. Discuss thing, not disgusting. Okay, there we go. So, let's share screen. Share screen. Transition. Here we go. So, yesterday, I was on the Tangent Kings podcast episode 18 with Discuss Thing on his channel. So that's Helzo on the Discuss Thing channel with Digny, the dignified cartoon gentleman. What's this guy's getting? Galaxy Red, I think. I know Dezembro, even though he has Hypnotic's body, and what's his name? Roger. Roger's over there with a lamp on his head for some reason, and I'm a giant. I don't know why I'm a giant. It looks like some Attack on Titan stuff over here with me being a Titan. But anyway, so I'm on this podcast. So you could go to either discuss thing. I'll post a link. Let me go back here. Go to copy, share, copy that. So I'll just copy this right here. I'll put it on in the chat. So yeah, let's just check that out if you want, or on Digny's channel, Dignified Cartoon Gentleman. He's going to post the segments on his channel. So There's Digny. I'll post a link over here to him as well. So usually he clips all his videos are basically clips of the podcasts he's on. So check it out. I do share my thoughts on. We talk about. So half the topics aren't even video games. I was like, okay, this is I guess the theme of the channel is pop culture, but we're talking geopolitics. We're talking about Venezuela. We're talking about the scams in Minnesota, which I was the only one to bring up that's a psyop. And they, no one really questioned what I said, like because I guess they agree, or at least take what I'm saying as it makes sense. I'm not just spitting out crazy conspiracy theories. I was actually mentioning things that make sense, that it's a psyop. But yeah, we talk about that, and we also talk about a couple of video game topics. We talk about GOG, and what was the other thing? We talk about this Chinese game that looks like Call of Duty or Battlefield. Anyways, let's get into the main topics. Let's start this. Where is it? Let me get that off the screen. Get into the main topic. Let's talk the talk. Yeah, let's talk the talk, Mr. 10 Years. Let's get this video on. So, all right, let me get the audio on as well, and let me know if the audio needs to be raised or lowered. Just want to make sure that you guys can hear what's going on. And let me get this back on screen. So Shendel James, nice looking intro. So this guy has, he has a good sized channel, 50,000 subs, 15K views for this video, which isn't too crazy. Probably this is like normal amount of views, but let's see. I haven't watched this video at all. Actually, before I do that, let me, hold on 1 second. I should update the video description to have this video on there. So give me 1 quick second. Go to YouTube Studio. And I know this is unprofessional. I apologize. If you guys want to share anything in the chat in the meantime, go ahead and share. This will just take a quick second. But, I appreciate you guys here. Let me know how your day's going so far. Update. No, not that. Details. Let's go to details. Let's go to... all right. Video, we'll put the link, and we'll tag the guy. What's his name? His name is James something. Shandel James. Let's tag him at Shandel James. Am I spelling that wrong? Shandel, not Shandal. Shandel James. Why is that not tagging him? All right, let's see what let me click on his profile. All right, let's just do it. I'm just going to do this. There we go. All right, now I got him tagged. Save. All right, so if you refresh, you should be able to see the video link in the description. I'll just post the video link in the chat as well in the meantime. So let me get this in the chat. There it is. All right, so let's get going. Let me know if it needs to be louder. And we're going to stop occasionally so I can give some feedback, or not feedback, but commentary on this. We're not just going to just watch straight through it.
So I boot up a new game. The graphics look amazing. The lighting is perfect. The character models look real. Then I play for an hour and I feel nothing. Have you felt that way too? I used to get excited trying new games. Now I load them up and instantly realize the pattern. Skill trees, crafting menus, open maps full of icons, daily challenges, battle passes, different skin, same game. I'm not saying games are bad now. They're polished, they look expensive, they run smooth, sometimes, but they all feel the same. And once you notice it, you really can't unsee it. I remember playing games.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is all stuff that we all know at this point. Is there is the supposed to be only audio? Wait. Oh, do you not see the video? Oh, okay. Whoops. There we go. My bad. Thank you, Cosgrove. I forgot to switch back. No, yeah, this is only audio. It was experiment, social experiment. It's a prank, bro.
Games as a kid, not knowing what to expect. You popped in a disc or cartridge and hoped for the best. Sometimes the controls were weird, sometimes the
Wait,
mechanics
did you say a Discord cartridge? What's a Discord cartridge?
made no sense, but that was part of the fun. I still remember loading up games like Kingdom Hearts, Jet Set Radio, or Shadow of the Colossus. Nothing prepared me for those experiences. They didn't care if I was comfortable. They wanted to surprise me. Now games are afraid to surprise you. Why? Because surprise is risky. Most big games today are built by committees, not by a single vision, not by a small team with a strange idea. They are built to offend no one and excite just enough people to justify the budget.
So what's he mean by surprise? I want to know exactly what he means by surprise, because surprise can be multiple things. Like, does he mean like surprise with the story, surprise with like the gameplay being deeper than expected? Saying that, I kind of understand his point, but I think there should be clarification as to what he means by surprise. What's he looking for?
So studios chase formulas that already worked. They borrow mechanics from last year's hit. They copy systems that analysts say increase engagement. That world alone should scare you. When did games stop being about fun and start?
So what he said about copying systems that increase engagements, that is not necessarily a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a good thing either, but there's a lot of psychology to what keeps keeps the audience. I'm gonna be more broad than just video games, so I'm gonna use the word audience rather than gamer. As far as what keeps the audience engaged, what keeps the audience focused on the product, there's a lot of psychology to it. And when you deviate too much from those things that work without understanding why those things work, then you can easily lose the audience. And this applies to, more than just video games, more than movies, even YouTube videos. If I just do whatever I want on a YouTube video without learning about what keeps the audience engaged, how quick of a hook I need to have, how quick of an introduction, etc. These are the reasons why I keep on trying to improve my hooks and introductions and try to make my introductions as short as possible, because the first 30 seconds is what matters the most with a YouTube channel. Probably even less than that, maybe 15 seconds. And the same with video games. There's a lot of things that will keep a player hooked onto the game, and this is the like the core gameplay loop. But the core gameplay loop, which is what the player does every 30 seconds, then if it's not strong enough, then the player will abandon the game a lot of times. Some will try to power through and try to see if it gets better. But you basically have like the core gameplay loop, which is what the player does within the 30 seconds to minute, like what makes the game fun. For example, let's take a look at Hollow Knight. The core gameplay loop is that it's a platformer. You're jumping from platform to platform, and you attack enemies. It's a platformer when you look at the core gameplay, and then beyond the core gameplay loop, you have the system, and the system is what keeps the player engaged, like every session, like within 30 minutes to an hour, the amount of time that the player is sitting at the game. So, for example, with Hollow Knight, it is the systems, the Metroidvania slash Souls like systems. Those are what keep the player engaged in longer sittings rather than moment to moment. So there's a lot of psychology to this, and saying that people use these methods to increase engagement, like that's not necessarily a bad thing. It is a bad thing when they use these methods to try to waste your time and suck you into the game. For example, having the player log in every day just for a like an experience boost, or daily unlocks, daily challenges. Like these things end up wasting the time. So it depends on how it's used. I don't think it's correct to just say that this is bad no matter what. Let's commence.
Being about engagement. I notice it when I start a new open world game. The map opens and it's already cluttered. Towers to unlock, side quests with icons, checklists pretending to be content. I don't feel like I'm exploring. I feel like I'm cleaning a digital room. Have you ever opened a map and felt tired?
I again, I agree with this complaint because, especially with Ubisoft, open world games, they're all the same thing. It's just a bunch of random stupid stuff to do. And there's also the argument of having, aligned with this argument. There's the argument of saying, hey, I like games that kind of I figure it out on my own. Like, for example, if you look at the Bethesda Elder Scrolls series, they get more and more streamlined so that it is more accessible and holds your hand in each game. Like you look at Morrowind compared to Oblivion compared to Skyrim. Morrowind, you have to figure out what you're doing. You have to read the block of text on this quest, and you have to figure out what you're doing. Oblivion, there's a little bit more hand holding, and then Skyrim, definitely a lot more hand holding. Like there's a waypoint marker telling you exactly where to go. So I understand his point that when you go too handholdy, it becomes a checklist of things to do. It's a matter of multiple factors. One being, how accessible do you want to be, and who's your target audience? If your target audience is the hardcore person who wants to figure out stuff on their own, then that's a bad thing to have a checklist of things to do. But when you want to make a game specifically more accessible to a wider audience, then you're going to have a checklist of things to do. But another huge factor is, are those the things on the checklist worth doing to begin with? Because if they're just things to do, then the player feels like they're wasting their time. I think a really great example of an open world that has things to do that doesn't feel useless is Batman Arkham Knight. When I was playing through that game, that had a ton of things to do. And say what you will about the Batmobile segments, a lot of people hated those. But overall, with all the things you do in that game, I felt like I was being Batman, cleaning up the city, cleaning up the city of crime, because everything had to do with improving the city. Like you're getting rid of criminals, you're clearing areas. I'm talking about the side quests. I'm not talking about the main quest, but the side quests, they all have to do with things that Batman would do to like secure the city. Unlike Spider-Man, for example. Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man, the Insomnia. I didn't play the second one, but I played the first one. There was some useless stuff that the game had me do, like uh, chasing pigeons and collecting them for a homeless man because the homeless man is Peter's friend. That was stupid. Or going around collecting puffs of toxic air that are just scattered around the city, and collecting samples of the toxic air for Harry so that he can do some study on them. Like, all these things felt really useless. Like, you're just going around just literally just doing stuff for the sake of doing stuff. And like I said, a huge factor, the difference between those two, Spider-Man and Batman Arkham Knight, is that everything that I did in Batman had to do with Batman's objective of securing the city. Everything I was doing with Spider-Man was just like, not everything I had to do in Spider-Man had to do with his objective. A lot of it was just stuff for the sake of doing stuff. So context is important.
Tired before even moving? That didn't happen by accident. Games now follow design templates, not ideas. Every system has a purpose tied to retention.
I mean, template. Again, like, I don't want to stop them every few seconds, but like, not all these things are necessarily bad. Using a template's not bad.
Crafting keeps you grinding. Loot rarely keeps chasing drops. Skill trees give the illusion of choice, but most builds lead to the same outcome.
Oh yeah. Mr. 10 years. Yeah, this is the video that you told me to do a reaction to. Thank you for giving me the suggestion.
Why offer choice if it doesn't matter? Difficulty used to define.
Yeah, what he just said. If it doesn't matter, that's when it feels like it's a waste of time.
Games. Now it's adjustable like brightness. I'm not against accessibility. That's a good thing. But challenge now feels artificial. Enemies scale to your level. Damage numbers inflate. Boss fights feel scripted. I don't feel clever for winning. I feel compliant. I followed the rules and got the reward. I think about how many modern games start the same way.
So this is an issue that I started seeing, I think, in the PS3 era, the 360 PS3 era, where some games would start giving hints when you're stuck for too long. For example, I noticed in Uncharted, if you're not doing anything long enough at a puzzle, you'd hear a chime, and then maybe even the camera would shift and something gets lit up, and it would show you a hint to try to get the puzzle worked out. And also, if you die enough times for certain games, it will ask you if you want the difficulty reduced. There were some games that would let you flat out skip a section. I can't think of an example right now, but I do recall that there were games that would say, do you want to skip this section? And I believe that came from the idea that developers didn't want the player to straight up quit a game because it was too frustrating. And that fear of making the game too frustrating led to adding in more mechanics that would make the game easier and completely remove the challenge. Let me get back. I see with the chat. Let's see. I'm not gonna lie. The Beowulf game I beat was good. It was a bad fun game. Sometimes you need bad fun. There's nothing wrong with a bad game that's fun.
Slow
Guilty pleasure.
walk, cinematic intro, tutorial disguised as story. Press this button, climb this ledge, follow the marker. Let me fail. Let me get lost. Let me figure things out. Why does every game assume I never touched a controller? Another reason everything feels the same.
Well, the reason is because I mean, yeah, assuming that the player hasn't touched that controller ever is a bit much. But when designing any sort of educational material, and this is not just tutorials, but like just educational material to begin with, you have to set the ground basis without assuming, unless there's some prerequisites, you can't assume that the end user knows certain things. Especially if it's supposed to be a jumping on point, you know, if it's intro level. So that's why you can't just have people jump right in. Also, as I said before, the beginning portion, like the first 30 seconds of a YouTube video, the first 10 minutes of a video game, these are important to make sure that the player doesn't give up. And yeah, if it's too easy, if it's too boring, they'll give up with that too. So it's a balancing act. How far are we going to go? How much handholding and how much discovery are we going to have? This is why I feel like the best tutorials are ones that allow the player to kind of just figure out the mechanics on their own, rather than like, you know, a big block of text telling you if you press the A button, then it reloads the grenade launcher.
It's monetization. This part matters more than people admit. When a game is designed to sell cosmetics, boost, or seasons, the design changes.
Yeah,
Progress slows
I agree.
down, grind increases. You start feeling the invisible hand guiding you. Just enough frustration to make the shop look tempting. Once you feel that manipulation, immersion dies. I've quit games I like just because of that feeling alone. Live service design also plays a role. Games aren't meant to end anymore. They're meant to loop. Same events, same rewards, same updates with a new coat of paint. You're not finishing a journey, you're maintaining a habit. And you know that's not.
I mean, I completely agree with this portion because it's not moving. Because whenever you have design choices that are like, for example, you know, system design, such as battle pass, experience, all these things that add grind, these have direct effect to the game design. So whether you are spending money, like whenever people say, "Oh, you don't have to spend money on this thing," like whether you're spending money or not, it still has a direct effect on the design of the progression of the systems. And if it's designed to have you grind rather than spend money, then that directly affects how fun the game is. It directly affects the game design.
Magic. That's maintenance. Social media and streaming didn't help either. Because if you really look at things, games are now designed to be watched. Flashy moves, big numbers, shareable clips. Quiet games don't trend well. Slow games don't go viral.
Well, I get what he's saying about the games are meant to be watched, because on one hand, to you know, back his point, on one hand, when a game, well, a lot of games are designed to go viral on streaming services such as Twitch, YouTube streaming, etc. They want streamers to play the game so that when people watch it, they want to play the game too. A good way to gauge how successful a game is how popular it is being streamed at the moment. And so therefore a lot of developers focus on trying to make the game more streamer friendly or more appealing for streamers. And in addition to that, well, sorry, not in addition. So, but to on the other hand, he's talking about, his point is that the games are meant for being watched. But on the other hand, a lot of these things are meant for like a dopamine rush. You're supposed to get these little wins, such as a flashy move, the big numbers flashing, all these things make a difference as far as a player retention. This is called game juice or game feel. When you see like screen shake, you see a big explosion, you see like the character lights up when their power meter is full, like all these things make the game slightly more exciting, and therefore it helps with player retention. Like there's a huge difference between like when you punch a character and nothing happens, and then versus punching a character and there's like a quick flash of white and the screen shakes a little bit. It makes it feel more impactful. Even with sound makes a big difference. I think a good example would be Max Payne 1 versus Max Payne 2. When I was playing Max Payne 2, the sound of the Beretta, the pistols, the sound was more like a pop compared to the sound in the first game, which sounded stronger. So when I was playing that second game, the very first level, I was like, what is this? This doesn't sound as cool. Though I did play through the whole game and I really liked the game. But the fact that the sound of the gun sounded much weaker than the original game, it was very noticeable. It made a big difference. So all these things do matter. But I do get his points that the developers try to focus on making the game more streamer focused to appease streamers. Wrangler, thanks for joining. I'm doing a what's this called? Reaction to this video. Modern games are actually terrible. So looks like I'm more than halfway through, but let's continue. Hold on one second. All right.
So subtle design gets pushed aside, but some of my favorite moments in gaming were the quiet ones. Another issue is fear.
Okay, well, I'm going to stop on that because he kind of just made a point and then moved on. Like quiet moments, yeah, they're good. It's about a balance. It doesn't mean one is better than the other. Neither are better by default. A big explosive moment is not better or worse than a quiet moment. It's about a balance. It's about the entire story, the entire experience. So neither are good or bad. It's just about finding the balance.
Studios fear backlash. They fear refunds. They fear reviews. So they sand down every edge. No strange mechanics, no confusing systems, no bold risks. The results feel safe, and safety feels bland. I'd rather play a flawed game with personality than a perfect one with no soul. Wouldn't you? Even indie games feel it now. Roguelike progression.
Okay, so before we move on to that next point, I know like disagreeing with a lot of stuff he's saying, and it's mainly because there's context to a lot of the stuff, a lot of the points. And as far as, well, so his complaint was that a lot of the mechanics feel the same. They're not really reinventing the wheel. And I think the counter to this is that, why reinvent the wheel? You don't need to figure out a brand new way to present a third person shooter when third person shooters have basically been refined at this point. Uh, a lot of games were trying to figure it out in like the 80s and 90s, 2000s. So you look at 2D games, 80s versus 90s. 90s, they were more similar to each other because at that point they started figuring it out. Compared to the 80s, they didn't know what was going on. Then the same thing. Then in the 2000s, when we shifted, well, actually late 90s and then 2000s, when we shifted into 3D within the 90s, the second half of the 90s, when we shifted into 3D, developers had to figure stuff out again. Developers had to figure out how to shift from doing a 2D platformer to a 3D platformer. And how do you control the camera? How do you do this? Like you have Crash Bandicoot, which had a fixed camera. You have Mario 64, which had a camera that you can turn around sometimes, but not all the time. So a lot of developers are still figuring it out. And at this point, you have basically formulas of how to do a 3D platformer. You can do one like Crash Bandicoot where it has like a stationary camera, but then you have other ones where you have behind the character and you use the second joystick, the right stick, to adjust the camera. The point being, game mechanics have evolved and they're becoming refined. So expecting innovation, something completely unseen or unheard of, it's not going to be as normal now or as common. It's not going to be as common to see brand new mechanics. Like for example, you look at Jumping Flash for PlayStation, for the original PlayStation, and that was a first-person platformer game, and the controls were really weird. I think you had to use like the top buttons, the shoulder buttons, to like jump and turn. It was really awkward. And why have a game where you use the triggers to move unless it's some sort of a racing game? So, a lot of games have basically fit themselves into these formulas. Halo on Xbox has basically defined what a first-person shooter is going to play like on a console. So this is the reason why a lot of games don't deviate, because it's like, okay, and this also kind of counters what he said earlier. So what he was saying earlier is, so he was complaining about why does a game assume that he hasn't picked up a controller before, and then he goes into saying, I want to see things drastically different. And I feel like that's kind of countering himself, because he admits that he's played these type of games before, but then he's kind of complaining that they're not changing enough. Let me get to the chat, see what you guys are saying. Bro is getting stopped. My bad. I'm sorry I'm stopping him. Quiet moments can be vital when implemented at the right time. After an action segment, cooldown period to let the player breathe. Something atmospheric with beautiful background visual. Yeah, I agree. I mean, like, let me get paint. So yeah, let's get. So I mean, like the progression of a game, usually like you want to get more excited, then you have a a calm, then it goes up again, gets more exciting, and then it calms down, gets more exciting, calms down. So it goes like this. So the game doesn't just constantly get more exciting, because that's impossible. Like you're gonna have a hard time pacing a game to constantly get more exciting. Instead, you make it more exciting, get to like a some kind of a boss fight or climax, and then you slow it back down, and that way the player can kind of reset mentally, and also that can be like a good stopping point. So that's basically how you do it. Let me get back to the chat. All right, the contrast at the right time can boost both the action and the calm. Yeah, yeah, exactly, Wrangler. I completely agree with you. Uh, Sabr has no Sabr on this man. Hey, I just I'm trying to add my commentary here. It's cool. I appreciate you. Okay, let's get back. Let's get back to this.
Pixel art nostalgia, meta upgrades between
Let me
runs. I
rewind a
love it.
second.
Even indie games feel it now. Roguelike progression, pixel art nostalgia, meta upgrades between runs. I love indie games, but even that space is in its comfort zone. When everything else copies everything else, originality becomes invisible.
It looks like he's going to a different point. So let's talk about that point real quick. And this is not me excusing indie developers. This is more about there's a lot of factors to this. One, I mean, a lot of indie developers are much smaller teams. While innovation and originality helps become a selling hook, deviating too far from what the player is used to can also turn people off. Or if people don't get it, if they look at something and they're like, I don't get it, I don't get why this is interesting, I don't get why this looks fun, then they're going to move on. And so that's why things need to look familiar enough to sell. Another thing is, I mean, going back to the point of smaller teams, is that a lot of these smaller teams just don't have the budget, don't have the resources, don't have the skills or abilities to come up with something interesting or something innovative. I mean, like, you look at my games, that my two that I have commercially. Well, one that's available commercially. You got Nexus Defenders, which is just a tower defense game, and it has like story segments in the middle. Nothing innovative. Nothing off the wall. And my current game I'm working, Beware Tomorrow, first person, stealth, puzzles, horror themed. I mean, at the moment, nothing really off the wall crazy. I need to come up with some interesting hook, some kind of thematic hook to draw people in. But I mean, it is what it is, because I'm just one dude, and I'm not really the best programmer. I'm trying to work on that though, or try to improve my programming skills. But the point being is that there's a lot of factors, and a lot of those things that he listed off, like pixel art, roguelike, that's because a lot of game developers, like I said, they want to make money, so they chase trends, and that's not a good excuse. Chasing trends is a bad idea, especially if the trend's hot right now, and the development of the game will take a while. You're probably gonna miss the trend. Like, for example, for a while, MMORPGs were a huge trend, but because of how long it takes to develop, a lot of World of Warcraft's competitors came out really late, and they were too late chasing the trend, and everyone's already playing World of Warcraft. So trend chasing is not a great idea. It can work if the trend can be capitalized very quickly. For example, Vampire Survivors, that was a trend, and because of how easy those games can be developed and how quickly they can be developed, that's why a lot of survivors likes came out so quickly, and they capitalized off the trend. So it's a risk, but again, indie developers want to make money, and that's not a bad thing because we got to make money to pay bills. So that's the reason why it's done, and I'm not saying that's a good or bad thing though. Let me see if the trend becoming fatigued is better to change. Right? Yeah, definitely. I personally, I think rather than chasing trends, I think it's better to shoot for a target audience instead. Just find the target audience and make a good game that target audience will like, rather than chasing a trend, because the trend is only going to last for so long and people will lose hype for that trend. That's my opinion on trend chasing.
Notice something about the games I still enjoy. They usually break rules, they don't respect my time, they don't explain everything, they don't care if I quit, they trust me. That trust makes all the difference. Sometimes I go back and play older games, not because they're better technically, but because they feel different. Different control schemes, different pacing, different ideas of fun. They weren't chasing trends, they were inventing them. That's the gap we're feeling. Games today are optimized. Older games were experienced.
No, let me finish this point.
Optimization removes friction. Expression embraces it. Friction creates identity. Without it, everything blends together. You feel me?
So, as far as what he said, a lot of that had to do with the fact that, I mean, like I said earlier, is that games have been evolving. Developers were figuring stuff out. And that's why a lot of the games earlier were rough around the edges, because of the fact that they were still figuring it out. And why reinvent the wheel? I understand the complaint that now they're feeling more cookie cutter, but the nature is that we're in a point in the timeline in the history of video game development that we have more game developers than there ever was, because the amount of game developers constantly increases. You're constantly going to have younger generations. You're constantly going to have more people who love video games and want to make video games. And because there's more and more game developers, you're going to have more people developing games based off of these formulas. So we're just seeing a large number of games being developed, and we're in the point of the timeline in which, again, these formulas have been mainly refined at this point, and you deviate too much from these formulas, then you're going to not please the fans for those specific genre of games. Of course, you can alter the formulas and come up with brand new genres. For example, the Souls-like genre is basically just an action RPG, but the specific things that make it its own genre are the specific type of combat and the difficulty level and dodging, the dodging and rolling to dodge attacks. Like, these are specific things that make the Souls-like genre. Because what was not Dark Souls, but the ones before that, Demon's Souls, like that was basically the one that's kind of started that whole genre, and it was a very solid game. So that can be done again. Somebody can take a different type of formula and just do a really good job with it, and then come up with another new subgenre of game, because Souls-like isn't really. It's more of a system. It's not. It's a subgenre or a system. It's not really an entire genre. I hope I make sense at this point, but let me get to what the chat's saying. We're going to see more art creators like, yeah. So, well, extraction shooters. That's what it's called. So extraction shooters became a thing. But the thing is with extraction shooters is that they have very high learning curve. So despite them being popular for a specific genre, for a specific audience, they're very popular. It's not accessible to a wide audience. And a game like Arc Raiders, from my understanding, I haven't played Arc Raiders, but from my understanding, does things a bit more differently. And so it's more accessible to a wider audience. So it's definitely going to spawn more copycats that are going to also want to say, hey, we can do this too. We can do this better.
I don't think gaming is doomed. I don't think creativity is dead, but is buried under mechanics and market research. We're playing games designed to
market research is I'm gonna definitely disagree with that. Market research is actually a very important thing to have. Most of these things I said are not neither good or bad, but market research, if you build a game with zero market research, then you're doing it wrong. Because you have to understand who your target audience is, who your game is for, what are the expectations for that target audience, because the target audience expects certain things. And I'm not just talking about, oh, my audience wants to see beautiful women. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about my audience expects the left thumbstick to move the player and the right thumbstick to look around with the camera by default. Like that should be the default controls. Things like that. Like the audience expects certain things. The audience expects to be able to reload the weapon without losing their ammunition. The audience expects, whatever the audience is expecting. If you want to please the audience, you need to meet a certain amount of their expectations. You don't need to meet all their expectations, but a certain amount. And then you can deviate just enough and intentionally deviate just enough to give them something new. And then they'll be like, oh, okay, this is kind of interesting. That gave me enough stuff that I like. It's doing enough that's different. And therefore, this stands out. And that, talking about market research, that's, reminding myself. But yeah, so when you don't understand what the audience wants, you're not going to have an audience. Also understanding the size of the audience, whether it's a broad audience or a niche audience, and on top of that, looking at what the competition's doing. What are other games within the same that have the same audience? What are they doing right, and what are they doing wrong? What are the complaints about the games, the popular games in that genre? Like you go through the Steam reviews, and then you see what's the most common complaint. Can I do better than my competitor because of this common complaint? Market research is very important. So I very much disagree.
To succeed, not to surprise. And success has a shape now. Once you realize that shape, every game looks familiar. So when you say, why does every game feel the same? You're not crazy. You're just noticing the patterns, the UI layouts, the progression loops, the design.
He
You
has an interesting way of saying patterns. The first time he said it, I thought maybe he like had a like he was tongue tied a little bit, so I didn't want to make fun of him or anything. I mean, I'm still not making fun of him, but he said patterns 2 times in a interesting way, like patterns, like he add two R's, patterns.
have leveled up as a player and now you want something more. Maybe the next games won't come from massive budgets. Maybe they'll come from people willing to fail publicly. People willing to make something weird, something uncomfortable, something unforgettable. Until then, we'll keep playing games that feel fine, look great, and we'll keep asking the same question. Why does every game feel exactly the same?
Um, yeah, that was an interesting one. I don't think he's wrong. Uh, he Let me get this off the screen. Let's go back. So I'm not saying that he's wrong about what he is saying. I I just think a lot of the points he brought is missing a lot of context. Um, I mean, granted that the video is only 7 minutes long, so it's not a very long video. He didn't go in. He made a lot of points and didn't go in a lot of depth into them. So therefore, yeah, context is missing. Um, but I agree and disagree with him as a whole. That's where my conclusion is that yeah, he has some points right, and I do think that a lot of the games today especially with um talking about battle passes and the open world issues of having checklists to do, the grinding, that is a huge issue. A lot of games are designed for monetization. He definitely made that point. I agree with that point that a lot of games are designed with monetization in mind, uh, which I think it's fine for game developers to make money, but when the priority is making money rather than making a fun game, then at that point the game isn't designed for fun or enjoyability. Is that a Black Ops 4 cap? Yes. Yes, it is. Take that off. That anymore? Whoop. Dropped it. Yeah, it's Black Ops 4. Anyways, um, so yeah. Oh, also I got this over here too. When it gets cold, I got my. Oh, there we go. My Black Ops 4 hoodie. Like people want to say that I didn't work at Treyarch. Like I don't have this swag because I'm a super fan of Call of Duty. I did not I did not buy these things. I wasn't like, "Oh yeah, I love Black Ops 4. I'm going to buy these things." No, I worked there. Come on, guys. People in the comment section saying, "Oh, this guy didn't work here." Okay. All right. Black Ops 4 was like the last game you consider to be a good game. Um. Oh, that you okay? You consider okay? Yeah, yeah. That's fine. Yeah. Um. So it looks like I got about 20 minutes left on the stream. Anything else you guys want me to talk about at this point? I'm not gonna do another reaction video because I don't have time to do another reaction video. But um, what was I about to say? Yeah, I think that's basically it as far as how I felt about that video. Is I think he makes some points. Just he doesn't look at the other side for a lot of those points, because a lot of it has to come down to balance. Because if you go one way too far with a lot of those points, then uh, you end up losing the audience regardless. For example, being rough around the edges. If your game is too rough, you're not going to have a target audience. You're not going to appeal to the audience. It might be too weird. It might be too unconventional, etc. It's about finding balance. You want to have enough things in which the audience wants to see. Don't make the game too weird. Don't make it too clunky. Sometimes clunk is good, but too much clunk is bad. How many times we got? Oh, I don't understand the question. How many time? Oh, how much time we got left? About 20 minutes. No more than 20 minutes. Maybe I might end it earlier just to make this stream shorter. I don't want to, make the stream 90 minutes if I don't have 90 minutes of content. Quick calls to action. Go ahead and like the video. For those of you watching the video, you got this far, please like the video. If you got a super chat, that it's more than welcome. It's not required. I don't require super chats, but it's more than welcome if you do a super chat. And again, I guess I'll show this on screen again. Where'd it go? The Tangent Kings. Did I even? Where is it? Let's turn this off. Go here. Is this the right one? Did I click on that? No, I did not click the right one. Yeah, there we go. All right, so let's show this on screen. Yeah, there we go. All right. Here we go. There's my giant head and these 5 other guys. And this was yesterday. So if you want to check out this podcast, check it out. Let me give it a like. There we go. I just want to mention that real quick. I think something showed up on the chat. Let me go back and look at the chat real quick. I disabled my ad blocker for this channel. Hey, thanks. Man, how do you say that? Name. Name. Man, I thank you. Thank you for disabling the ad blocker for my podcast. I appreciate that. You're hardcore. Your giant head looks like a game over or a game cover. Okay. But that was back when I was that was from like 2 years ago when I was like really fit. I guess I'm going to talk about this real quick, but I was in my men's group 2 days ago. Yeah, today's Tuesday, so it's Sunday. I was in my men's group, and we meet up the first Sunday of every month. I haven't been there for like 3 months because I was working my warehouse job, but due to it being January and goals being a topic that people talk about for January, the guy who was leading the discussion was talking about goals and what we should do. Just things that are goal related, how to stick with our goals. And I do have like a bunch of goals I'm trying to do, especially with my career. But one thing that really got me motivated is that he was saying, don't be the guy who shows up at the gym because that's a thing to check off. Because a lot of people show up to the gym because that's a thing that they need to check off and do. He said, don't do that. Which I haven't been working out a lot lately. I've gained weight like the last 2 years, especially that's why I mentioned, because that picture on the screen was from 2 years ago. I was in much better shape. But I've gained some weight. I'm definitely in an area in which I'm not happy with my, how I am physically at the moment. And so I was like, okay, I need to get myself working again. But the guy who was in the men's group, he said, don't just have it be a thing to check off. Instead, he was like, I want you to start training. Training, train as if you're training for something. Whatever it is, you're training for a fight, you're training for war, you're training for something. Train like you're training for something. And I was like, yeah, that's what I need to do. Because that's how I used to train like that. I used to go to Muay Thai. When I had money, before I got laid off from Zwift, I was able to afford going to Muay Thai classes. I trained hard. Did cardio kickboxing as well. The coach would yell at us like, calling us slackers, telling us to run faster, hit the bag harder, like just be a jerk to us just to push us harder. I was training, and I haven't done that for 2 years. And after going to the men's group meeting, I was like, yeah, I need to do that. I need to train like I'm training for something. That's what's gonna help me turn things around. Because when I was doing that, when I was training hard, like I was ready for a fight. In fact, for a while, I actually wanted to train for a fight. But the coach told me it's a bad idea because one, my age, and two, my back. I had back surgery in 2017. So he said it's a bad idea. Don't just do it for ego. You might hurt yourself. So he said don't do it. Just have other goals other than don't do an ego fight. So I was like, okay, all right, I'll listen to you, coach. But yeah, I was training really hard, and when I was in that strong physical condition, everything was better. I was getting better sleep. I was able to focus on my work better. I was able to work hard on my like game development, whatever. Like I was really focused, and I need to do that again. I need to get myself into physical shape so I can train hard. And once I'm in being in this physical shape will help me with my career as well, because then I'm gonna be more focused. And like one problem I have right now is keeping focus. I guess stress is attributing to that. Let me get back here. You got that Yakuza Kiwami game cover. I'll train for girlfriend. Yeah, do it, man. Train. I think. I mean, first of all, working out is a thing that all guys need to do, and I haven't been as good with that as I should be, but I'm definitely trying to get back on that. Like I said, I did my kettlebells with my sons. So those that which way am I? Yeah, that way. That green one is and that purple one are my sons. They're little kids. I got a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. So they use those. One is 5 pounds and one's 3 pounds, I think. The weights of those kettlebells. So they're like, my wife got them for my son, so they can do kettlebells while I do a kettlebell. And I have my tally sheet up here. Once I reach my goal for a certain amount of kettlebell workouts, that I'm going to upgrade. I have a 30-pound kettlebell. I'm going to get me a 50-pound only if I reach my goal of hitting all the tally marks. So, yeah, because I never buy myself anything, but I told myself, okay, I'll buy myself a new kettlebell, a bigger, heavier one, only if I reach my goal. Also, the food. Yeah, the food is also an issue that I have. I stress eat, so I'm trying to focus on, rather than stress eating, like drinking seltzer water. Uh, when I'm feeling stressed, I got my cold coffee, my iced coffee. No sugar, no sweetener, nothing, just straight up black coffee. Staying in shape, you need to eat food, not taste good. Exactly. Healthy food is expensive. Yeah, that's definitely a problem. That's definitely a problem, that healthy food is expensive. Like the cheapest food is the worst food. Like just food that's processed and full of sugar, and that's unfortunate that this is our how our society is right now. Um, anyways, think unless you guys have anything else you want to talk about, I think I'll just wrap it up. I appreciate everyone who's shown up to the, showing up to the discussion. Mr. 10 Years, thank you for suggesting the video. I think that was a good video to watch and have reaction to. Wrangler, okay, I need to get back on the carnivore diet. That's when I felt my best, but I'm addicted to peanut butter and, and peanut butter M&Ms. Yeah, it's tough. We got. I mean, first of all, we had to convince ourselves that we need to let go of the thing that we like so much, and then we have that mental battle of retraining and disciplining ourselves. So that's what I need to do too. I need to. I know people look at me right now and say, "Oh, you're not fat," but I mean, my belly is definitely not where I want it to be. I need to be. Like 2 years ago, when I was still doing Muay Thai, I was very close to the point where I had abs, 6-pack abs. Like I could see definition on my stomach, but I didn't have ripped 6-pack. And the goal was to get ripped because I was in the 180s, and I was like, okay, if I get to the lowest I got was 170s. And I was like, okay, if I could get to the 160s, I'd probably see abs, but I never got to the 160s. So that never happened. Servan Balahi, thanks for joining. I'm wrapping things up. Sorry you came in so late, but I'm wrapping things up. I appreciate you showing up though. How are things going? Ozempic, no way, man, no Ozempic, no pharmaceuticals. That stuff messes you up. People get messed up from that, especially as soon as they stop using it, they gain all the weight back. Plus, people going bald and all sorts of crazy stuff. No Ozempic. I like when you want to end the stream. People coming. I mean, it is what it is. I have to say out loud, all right, stream's ending. I'm wrapping things up. And then people start showing up out of the woodworks. Not an option, man. Yeah, not an option. No Ozempic, not an option. Keep things natural. Eat healthy foods. Don't eat too much food. Yeah. Anyways, I'm going to wrap things up, especially since I need to do a lot of things today. I have a few gigs I need to do. I need to work on somebody's resume. I have a thumbnail I got to do. I got to put in applications. I got a big list of things to do. Put some time towards my class that's starting on the 20th, graphics design class. Anyways, thank you all for joining. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys next week. Am I working next week? Let me check real quick. Do I have the warehouse job next week? Calendar. I'll let you guys know in a quick second. Am I scheduled? So next week, I'm working Monday and Thursday. So yeah, Tuesday should be fine as far as doing this again. 10 a.m. Central Standard Time next week. We'll do it again. If you guys want me to talk about something specific, please let me know. It always helps me when I get suggestions from the audience as for what topic to talk about. Anyways, take care. You guys have a good one. Stay healthy. Happy New Year. Salam.